here we go with round 1. Going to play first, and we have perfect mana, which is a great step towards winning this game. I'm not going to mulligan. We also have a 1-drop that trades with whatever he might be trying to do, and has the additional advantage of being pickable with Keymaster Rogue, so we might just drop the Krasis on 3, the Rogue on 4, and win the damage race with the Shadow Slice. It's possible that he has a Shamble Shark here, but I feel like he would have just attacked. I think we can get in for another damage. It looks to me like he just doesn't have a 2-drop, and that's huge because it's going to take more time to evolve his Raptor, even though it already trades with the Drake Ring, so it's not that amazing. Well, it's not such a great position for us anyway. Now the Flux Mage could grow out of hand a little bit. I would actually be interested in getting in for 1 more damage with the Viper. And given that we are going to return it to our hand, it's actually not unreasonable to just let the Krasis live for another turn, and then maybe we can do something with a Blood Rush ability. Also, Drake Ring plus Viper are going to deal 3 damage to the opponent because of how Death Touch and Trample interact, so I'm not going to allow the trade here, even though the Raptor is going to grow and the Krasis isn't. Still think that the Krasis is a potent enough threat. I didn't think that he would block here. He can't really double block because any kind of trick would just be absolutely amazing for us. And this isn't looking too bad. We are playing against Simic, so there aren't too many cards he can have to stop the Cypher on Keymaster Rogue, the Shadow Slice. It looks like he is taking this quite aggressively. Interesting decision by him. Possibly holding something to move counters here, but he can't really block, so don't know what his plan is. I'm going to Shadow Slice immediately. If he has an answer to Keymaster Rogue, that's unfortunate, but we don't have anything else to do with our mana, so I think this is just a great attack, basically. And it also means that he's dead if he doesn't answer the Keymaster Rogue immediately. One card he could have to survive is Aetherize. Which would be somewhat unfortunate. Then we need a new plan how to erase that. Okay, yeah, that looks like an Aetherize to me. In theory, he could have also totally lost here. So if we only attack with the Rogue and he totally lost, he plays totally lost on that, it's actually worse than attacking with both, but I think he should be on Aetherize here. If he has anything, it's most likely Aetherize. No, he has the totally lost. Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate. So we get to play a Denizen. And then we have the decision whether to pump anything by playing the Viper. Oh yeah, we are drawing the Rogue next turn, so we can always return the Viper to our hand. And the Krasis has the highest chance of winning us the game, so I'm going to pump that. Now the new plan against his totally lost is to survive this turn and then kill him with the combination of Blood Rush and this counter, which should exactly deal 5. So the way this works is that we are going to make the Drake Ring Crisis a 6-power Death Touch Trampler, and Death Touch means that 1 damage on the Cloudfin Raptor is sufficient to kill it, which means that we can trample over for 5 exactly. Okay, looks like we have to beat the Simic Mirror, and he does have a Totally Lost, so that's something to keep in mind. The Flux Mage also not a bad card, but something we can hopefully handle. Leyline Phantom isn't bad against Simic. We both have Rust Scarab, so Leyline Phantom is just a little bit better than Rust Scarab in the when they have to fight, basically. Our mana worked out great, but we can't really rely on that every time. Spire Tracer kind of weak, given that he has flyers of his own. Overall, like, some of the 2/2s here don't look too amazing, given that he's playing at least the Flux Mage and the blue Denizen, the 2/3 Denizen, so maybe Disciple is a card that we could cut on the draw, opting to go for a Leyline Phantom, or even Verdant Haven instead. I think going for Verdant Haven is something I like. It does mean that blocking his Rust Scarab is more difficult, but I think that one of the ways to lose this game is by getting screwed, so Verdant Haven might be better there than the Disciple. Might be wrong, we might have a bad hand because of it, but I think being 1 game ahead allows us to be a bit more conservative. I think this is a great hand, even though we might easily lose to some of the more powerful Simic draws, but most of them involve a turn 1 Cloudfin Raptor, so I think this is looking fine. Frilled Oculus is good, but because we aren't too keen on creature combat, trying to evade creature combat instead, we should be fine here. It's an interesting attack, to say the least. So he only has blue mana, and we know him to be blue-green. I think we can just block here. Maybe I'm missing something, but just going to try it. Yeah, he F6, so... I have a feeling that this Death Cult Rogue is going to be great in this game, and if he doesn't find lands, this match is going to be over very quickly. A reach creature is a very good reason to play our Hands of Binding here, and Verdant Haven actually means that we can curve out very, very nicely. It looks like a good idea that we brought in the second one. So let's tap down this, ciphering onto the Rogue. I'm just going to assume that the Rogue is going to get through against him. We can't be sure, but I think it's our best bet. This can be blocked by his reach creature and any other flyers, and he needs a Rogue for that. We could attack with the Sprite, but he's just going to block it, so there's really no reason to. Now, looks like tapping Frilled Oculus might be the best course of action because he can pump it, but I think it's more likely that he's just going to drop a creature to evolve his Crocodile. So I think that if anything, his Crocodiles are the higher threat, and if we tap one, he can't really afford to attack with the other one because we do have a creature he needs to worry about. And we are also getting a copy of the Shadow Slice here. We have him on 8, so 2 more attacks with the Rogue is sufficient. Now he could be playing his own Death Cult Rogues, his own Keymaster Rogue, but even if you are blue, it's sometimes kind of difficult to actually block Death Cult Rogue. If he reaches a 5th mana, he might also totally lost the Rogue, and we have been drawing quite a lot of mana sources, so a spell next turn would be perfect. Looks like our opponent untapped his lands again and decides to attack first here, probably with the Oculus, and even though it's unlikely that he's pumping, I'm not going to block. We can easily take 1 damage here, no need to jump block. And he actually has a Rogue, that's pretty unfortunate. Evolving both of his Crocodiles and getting a blocker for Death Cult Rogue here. Incursion Specialist is a nice, easy play. The Metropolis Sprite isn't doing anything, but we might draw... Well, if we draw another Hands of Binding, then we are just going to lock down the Rogue and get in with Death Cult Rogue again, so that's the reason I'm not going to try to trade these. Incursion Specialist could also be very helpful in dealing the last damage. There's always the possibility for the opponent to miss that he can block Death Cult Rogue, but this format has been going on for a long time. I don't think it's very realistic to assume that your opponent is going to miss that, and that Death Cult Rogue on our side of the table is quite potent. Could also draw the Bloodrush Viper to attack into the Keymaster, so there's multiple things that we could do here. Yeah, that's he's punishing us immediately, because now he has his own Hands of Binding. And that's certainly something where our deck is lacking. Now, funnily enough, if we manage to untap the Rogue with Burst of Strength, then we lock down his Keymaster Rogue and things look phenomenal, but we would need to top deck for that. There's actually the Hands of Binding, oh my god. So, next turn he taps down the Death Cult Rogue again, and if we draw a spell we might be able to... No, actually I think we just Hands of Binding his Keymaster Rogue here, ciphering onto the Death Cult Rogue just because it's going to be our main path to victory, and we don't hold it back. Yeah, that has to be better. Could consider ciphering onto something else, but that seems to be the best thing to do here. Okay. All in. having that second spell would have been very good with the incursion specialist, but we don't know if we draw a spell, and getting our Death Cloud Rogue locked down for another turn is actually much worse, so... Let's see what he has here. Simic Guildgate and a 3-drop it looks like. Of course a rogue would be the best thing he could have, but let's just hope that's not happening. Interestingly enough, we might have to double Hands of Binding the Keymaster Rogue, just to make sure that it resolves, but I think we know that the first one resolves before we have to cast the second one. Once again, he shouldn't be able to attack. Whoa. Oh yeah, he can. He can attack with his Croconaurus here, because even with the 2 damage from Metropolis Sprite, he doesn't die. But I think that we aren't in a great danger of being raised here, given that we have so many blockers. So Keymaster Rogue is staying tapped. Then it's either a 3-drop, either a 3-power creature or the Oculus. I think Croconaura is already a 3/5, so it's not something which we can easily block. So let's tap that, and then we also get to Shadow Slice him. It's possible that he was holding Totally Lost and didn't draw the 5th land in time with the Guildgate coming into play tapped, and we pretty much lose to that, especially given that we didn't draw a spell here, so we had no chance of actually getting the Incursion Specialist going. Now Metropolis Sprite's still not going to be lethal, sadly, so I think that we are just dead to Totally Lost, so I think there's no reason to play around it. And that means I'm going to kill the Slaughterhorn with the Sprite and just block the Oculus. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense, right? If we take 7, if we take 9, then we are dead to another Slaughterhorn, so I want to block something to prevent that from happening. And if I keep the Specialist alive, there's at least a small chance that it's going to be relevant doing something. And as I said, Totally Lost kills us either way, so... Oh man, I kind of want to play around double Slaughterhorn. He played 1, but he could have another 2 in hand, and then he would kill us with the 2 Croconaurs, but couldn't kill us with further Oculus. So let's just jump block here. Oh, we are... Oh, yeah. This one has... this one isn't even attacking, so... I think then we actually just block the Oculus. Which does mean that he can pump to kill it, but then he isn't playing Totally Lost or anything else. So this time it could be otherwise on his part, but we'll soon find out. doesn't look like that's happening. And the Shadow Slice resolves as well. Yes, it does. So, yeah, close game there with some Hands of Binding action, it looks like. Glad that we were able to pull that out. Even though we didn't draw too amazing, it was very important that we had the Verdant Haven to actually get the Shadow Slice going. Okay, see you round 2.